So 27 years ago, I started to recognize a difference in my college students. And you see different trends among college students every few years. And what I noticed was that many of my natural leading men didn't want to lead.
Hmm.
And so those who had influence among their peers, um, there was a real sense of, hey, don't ask me to lead, or I don't want you to feel like I'm judging you or I'm better than you. And so it was interesting dynamic because in any ministry, you need leaders,
Yeah.
but our leaders didn't want to lead. And around the same time, I was starting to do a study through the scriptures on the topic of manhood. There wasn't a whole lot of biblical manhood material out there. Like Wild at Heart hadn't come out or
Hmm.
any of that. And so I started studying the topic of biblical manhood. And do we have, can we go to the scriptures real quick? I'll
Oh, yeah.
share
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, Isaiah 3
Yeah.
is like tomorrow's headlines from 2,900 years ago.
Hmm.
So this is pretty amazing, and it really captures what I was seeing, this phenomenon where guys didn't want to step up, or those who did were immature. So yeah, I began to see something's happening among our men, and they don't have a healthy and clear picture of manhood or a path of how to get there.
Hmm.
And so as I was studying this topic of manhood, it really began laying the foundations for creating a course that we called Noblemen. But yeah, we'll do a quick flyover on Isaiah 3.
Yeah.
When God uh, judges a people or punishes or disciplines a people, he will often start by removing healthy male headship.
Hmm.
And that's what I was beginning to see in our culture, was that men were not aspiring to be men. And so yeah, we'll do some highlights here. So Isaiah 3, you see now the Lord Almighty is about to take from Jerusalem and Judah both supply and support, all supplies of food and all supplies of water, the hero and the warrior, the judge and the prophet, the diviner and the elder, the captain of 50 and the man of rank, the counselor, skilled craftsman, and clever enchanter. So the Jeremys of the world, they're going to be gone. These men who are the leaders in your community, God's going to discipline Israel by having them either die in the battlefield or they're going to be exiled. They're going to be taken into exile, and that was the discipline. So then, as a result, in verse 4, I'll make mere youths their officials. Children will rule over them. And we we would probably all agree today. And
Yes.
even our national leaders, many are acting like children.
Yeah.
You go, really, you are a grown man, and this is what you're resorting to. And so I'll make mere children use their officials. Children will rule over them. People will oppress each other, man against man, neighbor against neighbor. The young will rise up against the old, the nobody against the honored. So it's interesting, this culture that you see when healthy male leaders are extracted from a community, it has an impact. And then verse 6 is interesting. And I think this is part of what I had started to see with men not wanting to step up. Verse 6, a man will seize one of his brothers in his father's house and say, you have a cloak, you be our leader. Take charge of this heap of ruins. Another version, I forget which version, maybe NLT or Message, says, hey, you look like you know what you're doing. Why don't you lead us? And the guy says, hey, don't ask me to lead. I don't know what I'm doing.
Hmm.
So I was seeing these men who were growing spiritually, but they didn't want to lead. And as their friends are going, hey, you lead us, it's like, hey, don't ask me to lead. I don't want to. And even as you see, Jeremy, like the TV shows that they've grown up on, like let's take for instance The Office. Are you familiar with The
Oh,
Office?
yeah. Yep.
So who would all the guys want to be in the show The Office?
The guys is probably Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all want to be Jim. He's witty,
Yeah.
right? He's clever. He didn't do much.
Right.
He just points at. So uh, who's mocked in The Office?
Yeah. Michael Scott.
The leader.
Right.
Yeah, the last thing you'd want to be is this leader.
Yeah.
Michael Scott, who it's funny. I mean, it's comical, but if you grow up and your picture of leadership is Michael Scott, then you'd rather be Jim and just sit back and be clever and witty, right? And so
The cynical.
began to really, yeah, and so it's like, wow, leadership is either a dirty word that men don't want to pursue, or men are pursuing leadership for the purpose just of power and influence. And so, um, yeah, so that guy in verse 7, he says, he cries out, I have no remedy. I have no food or clothing or house. Don't make me the leader of the people. So you go on, verse 9. Again, so much of this is similar to our culture today. The look on their faces testifies against them. They parade their sin like Sodom. They do not hide it. So, and woe to them, they brought disaster on themselves. So we see a culture that is unashamed and that has a male problem and can't fix it. Even from within, the youth are going, well, I don't know what to do. Insert the iPhone, however many years ago that was. And now you have pornography in every guy's pocket. And we began to see uh, men who were trying to walk with God becoming increasingly addicted to porn. And their walk with God was, and their ministry was significantly impacted. So Proverbs 28:1 says that Proverbs 28:1 says, the wicked man flees, though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. So if a guy is looking at porn and he's this, kid in a ministry and he's really trying to walk with God, but he keeps looking at porn and they've got a neuroscientist whose job is to help him get addicted.
Yeah.
And he's likely seen it before he's even hit puberty. He's been going back to it regularly for years. And the Lord prompts this guy, hey, go share the gospel with somebody on your floor. And immediately the enemy goes,
Shame.
who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, shame. So the wicked man flees. Nobody's even pursuing. The enemy's like, I've got him, and but the righteous are as bold as a lion.
Yeah. That's
There's
Yeah, so there's like a series of traps you're describing. So you're getting closer to, it sounds like, a root issue. There's
Mhm.
so we the sort of the symptom is these guys don't want to lead. They're like
Yep.
they're abandoning leadership, and so we're trying to understand, well, what happened? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
You're saying, well, we've introduced to these young men like all this technology, all of these traps, and so they end up going down these paths, oftentimes in hidden ways, and so there's this like buildup of shame that creates this,
Yeah.
I you know this sort of Jim personality. Like, I'm just like going to be in the background making fun of things. Why would I want to like be bold and take control of
Take a risk.